Hello, everybody. I would like to welcome you and thank you for joining us on this webinar. Today we are having first collective in the series of webinar, and it is a BridA collective whose members are Tom Kerševan, Sendi and Jurij Pavlica. So the idea is to talk about their practice, as they will present one specific aspect of their practice, and on the other hand we will challenge this practice or confront it or link it with the text, which is a chapter from Shoshanae Zuboff book entitled The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, and the book is 600 pages book, but we will read just a brief excerpt from it. Chapter entitled The Reality Business, the Prediction Imperative. Yes, you're very much welcome to join us on a Zoom session. Because this is how you can participate within the whole discussion. So even if you haven't read the text, you are very much welcome to join and discuss certain aspects that we are going to tackle, whether through BridA's work or through some issues that are presented within the text. But as there are nobody is joining at the moment, so then I will maybe skip this moment with introductions, and then I will just invite BridA to present their work.
Okay. My name is Tom from BridA, and we are going to present a few our think art pieces, production pieces, and so on that we did in the let's say 15 years, maybe a little bit more. But we choose the pieces that are, let's say, important, even connected with the text you mentioned, and the pieces that really, let's say, embrace our work as embedded technology and art, let's say art pieces or installation or anything else. We'll start with the presentation of Information Accelerator. Information Accelerator is not something that existed before, not in this connection, in this word connection, but we just invented because we started with elaborating how the information can be implemented into our work, and to what means and how we can analyze something as complex that information is, and then to with this connotation produce let's say some work piece. I'm going to share now the screen and we can start.
Okay, we can say some more words. As Tommy explained, Information Accelerator, it's a project about researching of a vastity, enormous vastity of the information flow. We constructed a huge pipe, and there was a possibility of sending messages, text messages to this pipe, and the pipe actually transformed the text messages in physical properties like smell, like vibration, smoke, and it gave you a kind of feeling that this informations that you are dealing with it's a kind of a huge physical flow. So for us was interesting because when we talk about internet and information spreading around, we always think of something abstract, but it's actually a huge physical infrastructure behind this. And I don't know, we through our project, we like to challenge, to find the spaces in between of our perception. So usually when we look to the screen and when we actually connect to the web, we think that we are there in this abstract web, abstract grid, but we are actually dealing with the physical world, with the energy, with the matter. And I think if you consider all these things, you start also to think in a different way, to perceive in a different way the web and the information. So here you can see the smoke coming out from the pipe when the message came inside of the system. The pipe was how long? How much longer?
36 meters or so. And it's made in segments. It's all made in wood. So you can construct it in various ways. For us, it was like playing with Lego, only with the huge pieces. The most, I would say, information process that impressed me was the vibration. Because the whole, this is in Mestna Galerija Ljubljana, and the whole installation was put in classically built building, very old, in a city center, and with huge windows. And when we started the project, of course, the information started to flow. And the more information, and the bigger was the vibration of the sound. And at some point, the gallerist came to ask us to turn off the sound part and the vibration, because it almost broke all the windows that were facing on the main street. So just to tell the proportion of this installation.
Okay, we can go to the next.
Yeah, Jurij, looking at project Trackets. Trackets, it's let's say a pretty long project that we start in Como. When let's say we started talking about normally we proceed with all this thing of information, how the information is working on art and so on and so on. We've been in art and residence in Como in their program, and the leading was Jona Friedman.
Yoda. Yeah, because jokingly we kept calling him Yoda.
So. He was like a Yoda, yeah.
And in there in Como, we think about how to let's say interact the information and surveillance. And we didn't do this directly, like let's say surveillance cameras today, that when you can observe it, you can see exactly what is going on, but we rather change the flow of the information. We transform everything in the numbers here. We took, let's say, a photo of some space, some place, and then we, let's say, we just mounted the camera in a way that we recorded everything that moved on this space. And later on, when we transformed all this data from the pictures, from the video into the database, we then combine this, let's say, empty background with moving data. And now we have an inner view how, let's say, the computing or the computer see it as a data moving around and analyze it and so on and so on. But for us was let's say this aesthetic aspect that that we was interested in, because like I explained before, we always let's say follow this moment about the information, how the information is dipped into the art, let's say. So
yeah, I'd like to add something also on the technical note about the concept. The location we choose in this spot was not random, and we seldomly choose random locations for this project. The trackets is all about surveilling and controlling. So we choose this exact spot because there are two major institutions that through the history were controlling people. If you look on the other side of the street, there is Duomo. And we all know through history how church had the control over everything, not only maybe in bad way, but literally having control about everything. And in front of it, on the other side of the street, is La Casa del Fascio, and it was headquarters of fascists, and they had also, I think, prison there or something. So this is why we choose this spot. The point was to go above all these spots and location, and to have control of everything, literally everything. And here we are playing literally with control and surveillance through the internet. This first project was done in 2006, 7, 8, somewhere there.
2008.
I'm very bad with numbers, with the years, it was. We were already thinking where this all this development of internet and all these tools will bring us, and what are going to be the dangers. So if we confront this project to the reality we are living just now, we can see that we are actually living online. I was just complaining with Irena before that I want my life back because I feel it got stolen by internet. We are traced in every single thing we do daily. So we are there now. We are basically living our projects, our fear that we were talking about in the projects.
Yes, this is actually the, Tom, if you go to the next image, maybe, no, I thought the other one with Houston.
Okay.
It's the same project we did actually in different locations. This one was done in Houston from JP Morgan skyscraper. It's actually a real surveillance camera shot, but the interesting thing is that through the web that is created by the movement of objects and subjects, we can actually see also how the constructed environment built up through the history in the cities. So this became a kind of, instead of functioning as a surveillance data collection, it became something completely different. It became a veduta of the city, but done by the system that is actually collecting informations of the place, of the certain place of the city, for other purpose, for surveillance, for controlling people. But we showed it in a way that is like an aesthetic veduta of the place. And I think here we are talking again about a kind of interspaces that we are researching, where it's possible to find a huge amount of different possibilities of reading an image that is it's supposed to be telling something different. So if we go back to the parliament, so this is the parliament. It was Tracket's parliament. It was actually a kind of stage in the development of the project, Tracket's project, and this was done in Pavlica gallery, and we created a kind of surveillance system surveilling our parliament. So we tried to make a contra surveillance, so surveilling our main institution from this control system, and we put the thermal camera in front of the parliament, and with the thermal image, it was quite interesting to see. It was winter, and the temperature was actually coming out from the building and showing actually showing the naked reality of this political temperature. So here we again tried to use internet as a tool, because we had from Sendi, she was in the parliament and streaming in real time the data about sessions of in the parliament to the gallery. So you were able to see in the gallery actually all the talks, all the people who were talking. And then the most interesting thing we established was that our data was faster than data streamed by the national TV. So that was a kind of interesting achievement we did with this project.
Yeah, because we have three things there. Because if we look back to the other trackets, we always used the surveillance camera as a base, as of media for extraction data or information. In this case, we decided to put more surveillance and different kind of surveillance on it, and we choose the parliament, and we had thermal images. We had a direct stream from third channel of Slovenian television from the parliament in this same moment. And over this video, we put a sound analyze. It was a sound software that was created for analyze the voices and detect when one person that is speaking lying or not. You know, it's not 100%, but still is a tool that is vastly used for this kind of information. And the third information was practically combined by Sendi and the projection in the center of this image. And it wasn't just who was there, but what they are doing too, because Sendi sometimes just described somebody scratching on the head, and we just put this into
picking the nose,
reading some
putting the chewing gum under the table, reading the magazine. I saw everything from up there, basically. I was really, really angry because we were supposed to be inside with a thermal camera and shoot directly faces of speakers and other deputies, but they didn't allow us because they got afraid. God knows of what, but okay. It works really like a lie detector, everything. So maybe this was the problem. But then they agreed that I can sit in there, and I was even more bad than a proper software, you know. So for them, it would be better to have a software in there. I was really surveilling them.
But this was done in 2010, I think. And the technology really changed a lot from then to now. So the streaming of images and data was quite a challenge at that time. You know.
But
so
still,
yeah,
we started this because we practically want to provoke, let's say, a real surveillance from which we can extract the data that can form, let's say, some art situation here, or
actually the multi-layer reality,
yeah,
because we were combining actually in one space, we were combining data that are usually very difficult. It's very difficult to collect them all together in one place.
And today you cannot do this. You know, even in internet you cannot accumulate so much saturated data about let's say one person or one event and so on. You always have to divide those data today. Back then it wasn't so big problem. Okay, let's go further. And the next project is project Insight. It was, let's say, we're still dealing here about the let's say, a kind of surveillance, a kind of a personal data that we all have in form of, let's say, biological devices on us, or maybe something else, but here we construct, let's say, a little box that can collect images from our eyes and analyze those images and sort them in database again, to then later elaborate it and extract, let's say, something that is important for us. And as before, we was looking about the data that can provoke something that can guide us to produce something else out of this. Normally, this project was pretty short, and we have a database, but we didn't analyze them so well that we can talk about what we get with this.
Yeah. I think that the most interesting thing that came out from this was actually again a multi-layer projection. When you were looking in this scope, like was an internet scope, you were seeing the web page. You could browse the web page, but in the same moment you had the real-time visuals of your eyes moving on the screen. So it was very difficult actually to follow, to browse the browser, because you are always facing your eyes. It was like a mirror of your eyes, looking to the mirror of your eyes in the same moment when you are browsing and writing something in the Google or browsing pages. Actually, it was making you aware that somebody is collecting something about you. And that was the idea of the whole project, you know. So I think that when you show something about you, very similarly, like now when we are talking on Zoom, because we see our image sometimes, and
I don't see my image.
when we talk in real life, we don't see ourselves when we talk. So it's quite an interesting perception of the reality in this way. So this machine was actually built for playing with our biometric data, and also showing to the public how actually internet through different devices, through mobile phones, smart watches, different sensors, Google glasses, are collecting our personal data, and who knows what they are doing with this data.
I think this also we created around 2011 or 12, huh?
Yeah, it's
a prototype basically, and now we are thinking or hoping that we will get this funding to develop it further. Meanwhile, I can use it for stored cookies. Yeah, no, I'm joking.
Yeah, you can.
Go, Sendi.
No, the idea is really to develop it a step further, for which we were need certain tools that maybe 8 years ago were not so available. And now we got an idea how to make the next step. It's like always with our projects that we develop prototypes and go step by step according to what we are researching and what are our main questions and availability of tools and possibilities to develop actually.
And maybe just one thing that is important here is this is, let's say, the first time that we experiment about the device that is in the same time device to collect the data, information, and the device that is practically an art piece. You know, it's one device for everything. In the same moment you are looking into this scope, you are providing information, and the information is giving back to you in some other sort of
and you can eat cookies also.
Presence,
so.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, good. Let's go further.
And this is a tricky one. We love it.
Yeah, it was the titled City Without the Identity, and we tried here to let's say to put, we can say surveillance camera, but it wasn't surveillance camera. It was a camera, let's say, looking at certain spaces again, and slowly, this device, this camera, computer, and so on, worked in a way that slowly, everything that was moving in the picture was put out, and all these spaces was left just like an empty city, and empty picture of that space. And again, for example, we put the camera on the streets, and then we had to wait for 10-15 minutes that all the moving parts of this picture disappear, and then we just at the end we had this empty aesthetics of some space into the city.
Again, we are living this sceneries second time in 1 year. So we had it two times in 2020 when we went all the cities, major cities and everything in a complete lockdown. We were here also discussing what is identity of the city, who comprises this identity, what is it made of, and for us, I'll speak for myself. For me, it was when I saw images of completely empty streets first in March and then now in autumn. I was sort of shocked to see that basically it was like somebody wanted to make experiment with our project. We created this project, I think, 3 years ago, 2018 or something, and to see the things that we are discussing in our projects then happen in next few years. It's literally very, very weird, because we would never have imagined that we will have, I don't know, Beijing completely empty, or Strasbourg completely empty, so to say, or even Nova Gorica in March was completely empty. So it was like somebody is doing a real-time experiment with our project, basically. And this is sort of scary, but on the other hand, it's very interesting to see because it's your project on the floor, a real floor, and in the big scale. So this for me is very interesting to confront what we were thinking 3 years ago, the fears that we have, and now that these things are happening here.
But this project was also interesting on how the surveillance system is actually working, is actually done for controlling people. But here in this case, we were using the system to delete people actually from streets. So, but with controlling people and applying the data on subjects, is actually deleting the personality of subjects. So it's not that it's not a detection of the subject, of the person, but is actually slowly deleting the identity of the person, replacing it with something collected data or numbers of the concerned person. But here I heard maybe 2 months ago that on the I think on the iPhone you can download now the application that is actually cleaning faces from the photo.
There you go.
It's it was actually done 5 years later. But now they are claiming that this is something revolutionary.
It's not.
That the software is actually deleting other people from the photo, but the purpose is not to show the identity of people and show only your face. So it's not. It wasn't the same purpose that we were researching.
It's advanced selfie software that delete all other, but not you. You know. It's, like.
And then you can multiply yourself. That's gonna be ace, you know. So you wake up, you don't like yourself, and you see yourself in thousands of images in a crowd. You know, it's like wow, a dream software.
Okay, now we have the last project here. I think it's False Mirror. Yeah, it's a project about virtual reality, actually virtual world that it's actually present on Google Street and Google Maps. We are all used to use every day almost. But here was interesting because we created a kind of room where you can navigate through this Google Street. We, in a way, we hacked the Google Street. So you can move really in an immersive way further in the streets of the different places in the world. We choose places that were present on Google Map and Google Street, but were not possible to visit because they were a closed no-go area, like Fukushima, different war zones. And that was quite interesting because on the handle that you had to navigate, you also had the possibility to put the phone, and it was working like a selfie stick. So you could actually make a selfie in Google Street, and there was, direct post on the Instagram and different social media. So it was again a kind of research of the different layers of interspaces that we can find during the development of certain technologies, and also in the interaction between us as a person and a virtual world and the web.
This is pretty much about the presentation, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah. We could talk for hours, but
yeah, we already did 40 minutes.
I have to stop you.
Yeah.
Good.
And also, I see that there are some people join us. I can introduce one person because I know who she is. She's Olena Kasperovich. She's from Ukraine, and she is the curator who started with us the project Transportation. Mm-hmm. So we are very happy she joined, and if she has any questions or something, suggestions, she's Olena, you are free to intervene, right? Am I right, Irena? Yes.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Hi, thanks for introducing me.
Hi.
Even though I know your project, but it was interesting to see them again and to hear you explaining. And I like how they kind of predict something that are happening now. And it's very relevant. We all can say, I like it. I wish you good projects in the future. What can I say? I have no questions to you, but I have wishes.
Maybe later, yeah.
Olena is going to curate this year's edition of Pixel Point. So she'll be, I think, joining us this summer. And I think she'll go a bit around Slovenia and meet the artists. So you'll have the chance to meet her. She's a wonderful person.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I hope we can see all. I hope we all can see each other this summer.
We hope that too, like in real life, not on internet. So
sure.
Okay, so I would maybe start with the book. Actually, a text from the book. I don't know, did you have time to read it? The ones that are not BridA. But even so, so basically the chapter is entitled The Reality Business, the Prediction Imperative. And what I found very interesting is actually that you mentioned in your presentation, the first thing you have mentioned is actually this materiality of internet. And that you were interested in kind of exposing this materiality. And I really appreciate that you actually have done it years ago. So now, you know, it became a trend, or it became important question anyways. But at that time, not so many people or artists were thinking about it, because it was very ephemeral, it was very immaterial, and nobody would perceive it as some huge structure that is noisy and shaking everything and so on. So, but why I found that interesting in relation to the text is actually that the text is starting exactly with this question, like, or a statement by Schmidt, that who is actually one of the CEO from Google. He said in Davos in 2015, so the internet will disappear. There will be so many IP addresses, so many devices, sensors, things that you are wearing, things that you are interacting with, that you won't even sense it. It will be part of your presence all the time. Imagine you walk into a room and the room is dynamic. But the author is also going further with this to mention that actually this idea of disappearance of internet is actually coming from 1991 from the article of by computer scientist Mark Weiser in the article entitled "The Computer for the 21st Century." So basically what he was saying is that the most profound technologies are those that disappear. They weave themselves into the fabric of everyday life until they are indistinguishable from it. So basically, how do you see this state of the internet at that very moment today, for example, when you have all these moments when, for example, surveillance is not coming only from how you have been on Facebook, but it also has to do with, I'm having this app that is, I don't know, following my steps, or a refrigerator that is smart, or I don't know, vacuum cleaner that is smart, or whatever. We are constantly like having all these items that are like basically collecting data, and they do it in a way that it's almost difficult to notice. So I just want to know, like, what are your thoughts on about disappearance of contemporary disappearance of internet, and how do you perceive it?
I don't know. The first thing that I thought about this was that I think Google wants that the internet disappears, because they want that goes under our skin, actually, so they can do whatever they want. But as you saw with our project, we are really trying to expose this, you know, how they deal with, how they want to hide all these things. So I think it's important that as people who are aware And also for us, that we are a generation that were actually we were witnessing the development of technology. We explained to the new generations how and why it went through different stages. And I think it's, for us, it's okay, we understand it. And we are aware. Not every moment, but when we start to think about, we are aware. But for the new generations, would be very difficult because they actually grow through this process of being integrated in the technology. And maybe for the new generations will be very difficult to recognize this moment of being completely under control from these big companies that they want from the point of view of marketing and capitalistic view, they want to control everything, to manipulate us and to make us buy things. And like you mentioned, everywhere, in every device, in every small device, you have some sensors. And every device is actually connected to the hub where these data are streamed out to some center of control. And it's almost impossible. For instance, I bought a new phone a few weeks ago, and I spent 2 weeks to disable all the things because I don't like all these things that are actually sharing my data around. And at the end, I was searching through the system, and I found one small thing that was actually under emergency protocol. And it was the thing that was actually showing my position if something happens to me, if there is no network or anything. And this could be disabled only if you go really deep in the system of the phone. But it's not necessary because the provider, if something happens to you, the provider, they can find you through the phone, even if it's closed actually. But this thing under the name emergency was hidden, you know, like that you keep it enabled so you feel safe, you know. So you have a lot of these things that that are actually present today, and I think we like to keep it not disappearing completely. So we want to know what is happening.
Yeah. There will be always the things that are visible and the things that are, you know, dipped in some sort of other media, and we're not seeing them. But let's say that this visibility of the internet is a thing that happened slowly, and let's remember the Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, and so on and so on. All these steps have had something to do with this disappearance of the internet, or maybe disappearance of the technology itself. And if you look, internet like a medium was primarily perceived through the screens, through the window. You know, this was his first presence to us, and slowly, and during this age of the internet, the first thing that happened, that this stream wasn't just a one-way stream, and slowly become a two-way stream. And if we are going further, we can say that maybe when the internet will disappear, we will have just again one stream from us to somewhere else. But let's say the idea itself about the disappearing of technology is very old. If we're going back and return to the surveillance, all the surveillance technology was into it, because they produced very small devices, microphones, cameras, and so on, that was intended to spy on us. But you know, and even those things we didn't see around us. But the primary goal of those time was collecting information about one subject. Today today surveillance in the form of the internet is working differently, and this data mining about us, for so say, is not anymore focusing on the subject, but is focusing on the market. So how to mesh all this data in a way that the market is going to work again and better and faster than before.
Sendi, you're a person of
no, I'm happy to be able to trace these guys. We travel a lot and they sort of disappear. And you know, it's like I call good old Google and I find them out. Yeah. No, it's me. I always get lost and they have to find me. But you know, I kind of feel okay that because I know that I'm traceable. I don't mind. I don't mind being controlled. I don't mind being traceable. I don't mind if somebody is hacking my computer. I really don't mind. I just don't want them to take my bank account number and stuff. But for all the rest information, to me, it's as natural as everything. So shareable. I don't have these big fears that somebody will use my name. So what? Whatever. Even if they use it, I might have some problem at some point in my life. But you know, it's like. I think if we connect to this marketing and wealth, I think more the people who are more wealthy or have, I don't know, upper positions and informations should worry about that. But for average people that we move around, I don't know, hope somebody likes me when they see me on the camera. That's pretty much it.
But because in the other part of the text, which is also the kind of the subtitle, this comes this moment of the prediction imperative. So the whole idea is about okay, one thing is how the surveillance functions. So it's like this goes into more ephemeral and more invisible. And another thing is that what happens actually with that data, and what happens actually with this moment of prediction and how is that used. And what is interesting to me actually in this work that you have, Insight, as you mentioned, basically at the same time you are like viewing and then you are viewed by you. So in a way, I think it really goes well into that moment, like what is happening with this, I think, prediction imperative, in a sense that first you are feeding data, and then this data is used to kind of go into your behavioral modes. So somewhere else I have read this idea of this predicting for now is successful like 80%, and they wanted to have it to have success of 90%, to be able to predict if, I don't know, somebody is going to go on a diet next week, or if somebody is going to break up, or if somebody is going to change sex orientation. So for me, this is really like a work that is really nicely, I think, going into that, like what is happening with all this data that is actually quite abstract and also unreadable in a sense for us.
My question would be, at this point, why would you like to predict when I'm going to the toilet, or I don't know, break up with my boyfriend, or I'm going to diet? Who cares, you know? Okay, you want to sell me a new toilet pot, a new diet, find me a new boyfriend? Why would, I don't know. The question here is always, why is someone so obsessed to want to know what the next person will do on their personal level, you know? Of course, we work in technology. We have a lot of data, okay? But I cannot tell for myself that I was ever interested in something deeply personal about some third person. Okay, I'm interested in something deeply personal. If my friend or my sister or him or Tom is depressed or, you know, in some bad mood or in troubles, then I want to know because I want to help. But why would I want to know who is breaking up, who is sleeping, who is eating? I think that's hysterical. You know, we are on the point of history here because I cannot name it differently. It enters in some kind of obsession about knowing everything about everyone. You know, it's like it's interesting to work on it and to alert maybe through your project that this could be happening, and now it's happening. And I don't know. Looks like part of the people like me don't care if somebody wants to know whether in which space in my house am I moving. Part of it, it's like asking why do we want to know this, and part of it, it's like really, I think it's sickening and obsession.
Yeah, so. But this is what you said. It's exactly what the majority of people think, and I think it's that's it, because. Like Tommy mentioned before, it's a thing of the market, because they are not interested in those things that Sendi explained.
Oh, they just want to sell something.
They are not interested in your personal things, but they are interested in the potential of knowing these things. And the potential comes in the future, comes in the stages. The project we did in Insight was actually diverting these things, like you explained. So you were feeding, but on the other side, you are diverting this feeding with the awareness that you are present on the web, you know, with your physical person. And that was a kind of disruption for the system. And if everybody would have this eye tracking machine and browsing on the web, that would be a kind of hack for Google. Because they would know, they will not be able to predict things because it would be a kind of chaotic situation, a kind of glitch, let's say. It's something like you are you are searching the object that you want to buy on the web, and some person comes behind you and say, "Oh, Jurij, it's we have to go for lunch or something," you know, and you just get detached from the point, you know, and they don't want this, you know, they want that you stay there, you know. And we were playing a little bit with this moment, like showing your eyes, and also when you were actually going with the mouse on the certain point and you wanted to click, you saw your eyes going on this point, you know, and you were like disturbed. And also you saw your eyes scrolling on the page, you know, on the menus and all these things. And it was a kind of showing you that you are there, you have to be aware of certain things. Actually at the end, I think it's a point how much we leave ourselves to this, how much we immerse ourselves in this situation, or we want. Do we want to give feedback to Google, or we don't give feedback? No, that's a point. But it's not like some people do, like put the tape on the camera. It's not like this. You know, this is. It's a kind of very ingenious way of hiding yourself. You hide yourself when you understand things.
You can wear a mask.
Yeah.
Now it's regular to wear a mask.
You can wear a mask, but I think that the most important thing is that what we want to show with our project is also to show to understand how things works, and to break this mind models that we have in our brain, because all this corporation, they are studying our mind models, and when they get it, they are able to give to sell things because it's easy to decipherate. It's easy to understand it. And I think that the new trends that are coming now with this quantum computer development and all these super fast machines and the network will make very easy to reach these mind models that we have in our minds, you know, and to use it, to abuse it.
Well,
When they arrive to my mind maps, they will just collapse if it's too complicated, you know.
Yeah, that's your protection. Actually.
I'm working on it.
Actually, I think it's like Jurij said before, it's very important that we have some general idea about what is going on with all this technology that mine those data. And in this way, we can, let's say, react, we can give more data, you know, or we can give less data. It depends how we are looking at this thing. But it's impossible for us to hide. It's not because of technology, it's because today data mining is working not just on the level of a device itself, but because of the mass of this information. And comparing this information with the statistic data, they can, let's say, retrieve information about us, even if we directly didn't give them data. So directly, we are into the system integrated, if you want, or if we like it, you know. And the other aspects of this, let's say, prediction is that, for example, today's devices like smartwatches that have all kinds of sensors and so on, collect a lot of useful data about us. Let's say, I'm sure that in this moment, the Google have enough data, for example, to phone me and say, okay, Tom, look, you have this and this illness, you know, maybe you need a pierce and so on. And the moment of the important point is here, what are they going to do with this data? They may give us this data, you know, that we can live better or so what, or they even can sell us this data, you know, and we may even help ourselves in that mode. But you know, it's really interesting, you know, to imagine all this information that can let's say, guide us about how we will react in the future about all this. Because, you know, like inside project, when you give some data and and somebody give you back, let's say, a portion of this data in, I don't know, in some form, you know, it change yourself, you know, you are reacting to the collection of this data, and you have to change, not just because you want to change or about all these things, but because all the collection through the you know is impacting you. And let's say that those who provide the methods how collect the data, they know how to use it to make better machines, to devices to retrieve this data. You know, it's difficult to say, but today's topics is, for example, Internet of Things. You know, those devices are practically those devices are possible today not just because the internet, because the infrastructure, but because of us, because we like them in a way. And this our let's say this notion, this state, it was provoked because they collected data about us in the past, you know. So we are just sliding with all those collected data into some future, better or worse, who knows?
Okay, thank you very much. We are actually now very, very like tight with time. Actually, we are like to ask Olena and Matevos if you have some questions.
No, I want to thank you for the answers. It was really interesting to join your conversation. Thank you.
Somebody felt.
Okay, so I would like to thank everybody for being here, especially BridA, but also to Matevos and Olena for joining us on Zoom. And thank you very much for this discussion. We have scratched some of the things from your practice and from the text. Of course, 1 hour is quite short, but still, I really much enjoyed it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us. And thank you to everyone.
Bye.
Bye.